In case it wasn't clear from my corpse party video, I am all about stuff that messes with your perception of something you care about so much that you can't help but be afraid. In the case of that video, it was other people, which I got over instantly because games aren't reality, something our lawmakers seem to forget quite frequently. But thanks to Puella Magi Madoka Magica, I've grown to fear the term magical girl. Now before you go about judging me saying, oh, it's a magical girl show, hear me out. The whole reason any of the characters even become magical girls in the first place isn't because the universe needs them to kick some ass, but because they unknowingly enter into a Faustian power bargain with this asshole, who in exchange for insane magical powers, completely fucks with their humanity. Have I piqued your interest? Good. Now I'll get to the beauty of the really good scenes later, but for now, let's talk about subverting your expectations. It's a term that's been thrown around quite a lot lately, well, with the release of The Last Jedi and Infinity War. In fact, those two films are the focus of a really insightful video from... I don't know how to pronounce your channel name? Well, link is in the description. I had a lot of fun watching it. This video is fantastic. The mark of a good piece of media is that it takes your expectations of how things will play out and flips them on their heads, leaving everything a total surprise and making you want to keep watching. This is a pretty simple concept, but one that can be difficult to do properly, because it's not enough to set your audience up to expect one thing and then do the opposite. You have to then build on that opposite. Make that opposite as fleshed out as your characters, if not more so, because that opposite is now the world the characters inhabit. The subversion of my expectations began with the whole concept of what being a magical girl means in this show, specifically with this line from Cube.
Just make a contract with me.
See, normally you just transform and then kick ass because a magical or alien being needs your help, but in this case, the girls get these powers and whatever wish they desire granted, and in exchange, they have to fight these two-dimensional things called witches. Also, if they die in a witch's domain, their bodies will never again see the material plane. They're just missing persons forever. That's kinda dark on its own, but it only scratches the surface of the tragedy that magical girls will face. How about this? To get the powers, they have their souls ripped out and put into gems, and if the girls are ever over 100 meters away from their gem, they f***ing die. I am not kidding. I'm sorry, not twisted enough for you? Good, because if they don't treat their soul gems with the grief seeds they get from killing witches, their soul gem corrupts and their soul turns into a witch, effectively killing them. Let that sink in. If they do not kill enough things, they become the thing they gained the power to kill. Normally, I would mark this level of ironic suffering just plain torture porn, but there's a reason why this level of tragedy works. It's slowly revealed organically through the actions of the characters. We learn that they lost their souls when Sayaka acts like a complete idiot and tries to pick a fight with Kyoko out of pure rage, only to have Madoka stop her by throwing her soul gem off a bridge onto a moving truck. The only people who knew that were Homura for special reasons and Kyubey himself. And after that fact is revealed, Kyoko and Madoka reasonably lash out at him for not telling them he was messing with their humanity, only to be told he doesn't give a damn about the humanity they're speaking of, and that he doesn't understand human emotions, so why worry about it? This marks the point of regret for Kyoko and Sayaka when she gets her soul gem back, because since they weren't informed of the details of their transformation, they feel cheated out and like they got nothing out of their deal. But more importantly, it marks the point of Sayaka's change and descent into darkness and failure. From there, she starts killing familiars before they become witches, so she uses up too much of her magic power and doesn't get any grief seeds, even denying them from Kyoko and Homura when they offer them to save her life. And it all comes to a head in episode 8, when after some small talk between these two, Sayaka reveals her corrupt soul gem. She knows her life as she knew it was ending, and fully accepts it, albeit with a few regrets. See, in her rage of killing familiars, she completely unloads all of it onto Madoka, her best friend, and pretty much destroys her optimism. And this happened the day before, in the same episode in fact. And Madoka doesn't even know of what happened to Sayaka until Kyoko comes out of the new witch domain carrying her dead, lifeless body. I'm not kidding. She's just actually dead. They even hold a funeral for her. It's one of the few character deaths in anything I've seen ever that's really made me feel sad, albeit not extremely. The other deaths don't do anything for me except reiterate that these girls can die at literally any time, and it's just part of their jobs. Oh, I can't get this out of my head. The whole time I'm watching this, I couldn't ever forget the most annoying character name I've ever heard. Earlier on in the story, we meet an older girl who tries to serve as the role model character. You know, up until... But that's not the point. Just listen to her name. Oh, why? Why would you ever name a high school girl character that? Sure, it's spelled differently, but that doesn't save it. The whole time, Madoka and Sayaka keep calling her that, and I just want to break them because it just never stops. I know that in Japanese it has a much less weird connotation to it, but damn it, I watched it in English this time, so I could never possibly get it out of my head. Oh, and one more thing. The soundtrack and animation on display in this show are absolutely masterful. The first episode opens on this dreary, mysterious scenery with mostly silence and some ambient background noise, and then BAM! All of a sudden, this powerful piece bursts into your eardrums, along with an incredible scene of Homura leaping towards a big evil thing and getting a fucking building thrown at her, and oh god, it's so good. And the more somber, down-to-earth scenes are just as powerful. If it wasn't for the fact that I already knew about the Sayaka turning scene, I would have been crying and screaming at my computer screen in desperation, trying to get Sayaka to stay safe and to not die because there's already enough torture and sadness in their lives and I just want to help them so badly. The music in that scene kinda broke me. I'm definitely gonna keep this on hand in case I have too much emotion built up and need to let it out. Just listening to this music already makes me feel sad because I remember the scene it plays in. Basically, every shot here is used to better convey the emotion every character is feeling, as well as what you should be feeling while watching it. And I just can't help but feel that everything used in this whole show has heavy meaning and purpose, which is something that's kind of rare in a good amount of shows nowadays. It's always a joy to see. Now, to make a long story very short, if you have not taken the time to watch Madoka Magica, you owe it to yourself to take the time to do it. It's only 12 episodes, and all of them are full of such detail that it's nearly impossible to say that no love went into the production. After watching this, I wanted to go out and watch a bunch of other dark magical girl shows, because this one has me sold on the whole genre. I'm ready to just binge watch all of them to my heart's content. Anyway, I'm Van Campone, and I will see you guys next time.